Watch my natural henna stain get darker within hours. 4 hours after henna application. 12 hours after henna application. Dark henna stain for Diwali. Lemon plus sugar. Heat. Secure before bed. Unravel. 18-hour stain. Here is how to get a dark stain with natural henna. Start off by heating cloves on a stove and let the heat absorb into your skin. Then apply a lemon sugar sealant to keep the henna from flaking off. The next morning I used mustard oil and a butter knife to scrape off the henna paste. This is the 12-hour stain. I'm obsessed. How to darken your henna stain. Hold hands over heat. Add cloves to the heat if available. Make a lemon and sugar mixture. Mix, 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 mix. Use a cotton ball to pat the mixture onto dried henna. Keep dried henna on for a couple hours.
I got my peaches out in Georgia. I get my weed from California. I took work to go to the North, yeah. I get my life right from the source, yeah. And I say, oh, feel like dark stars. It's the way you lift me up, yeah.
Making my natural henna stain darker with Vicks, cloves, and heat in one day. More Vicks before sleeping. This is the stain just in one day for natural henna. Darken my henna stain with me. Add equal parts of lemon juice, water, and sugar. Apply with a cotton ball all over the henna stain. Take Meflix tape and measure it to cover the entire hand. This helps me sleep with the henna stain on overnight. The next morning, I take it off and the henna comes off along with it. Here is the stain immediately after. Next, I rub coconut oil all over the stain to moisturize and darken the stain throughout the day. And here is the darkened stain the next day.
One thing that's awesome about doing henna for repeat clients like my girl here is that I don't really have to go over the henna aftercare with her. She's gotten it many times for me, so she already knows how to kind of take care of it. But for anyone out there who's new, I'm going to go over my top tips for getting a dark, long-lasting henna stain. The first thing you want to do is make sure that there is no oil or lotion on the area that you want to apply the henna. And one thing you can also do is exfoliate the day before. That way you have fresh skin and all the dead skin is off. Next, you want to leave the henna paste on for at least 8 to 12 hours. After that time, you then want to scrape it off. You don't want to wash it off with water. I usually use a butter knife or like an old debit card, something like that. It's also super important to try your best to avoid water contact on the area for the first 12 to 24 hours. This will help the stain develop really nicely, and the last tip is you want to try to keep it moisturized with a natural oil. Here are 3 tips for getting a dark henna stain. The first thing I like to do is to heat up my hand, especially if I'm feeling a little bit cold, because henna loves heat. The warmer you are, the darker your stain will be, so I use my stovetop for this. Next is you do not want to wash your henna off. For natural henna, you want to either let it peel off naturally or scrape it off like I am. This is after about 9 hours having the paste on. The longer it's on, the better. I usually recommend at least 6 hours, but usually 8 to 12 is the best. You can use basically any blunt object. I'm using an offset spatula, but you can use a butter knife or even a debit card. Then I always like to add a little bit of olive oil after that part just to kind of protect the skin and keep it moisturized. If you're going to take a shower within 12 hours after peeling off the paste, you're going to want to use something like a plastic bag and hair tie to make sure that you're going to protect the fresh stain from any water, and using a hair tie at the end keeps any water out.
Here's how I created a dark henna stain just overnight. I started off heating up my hand over some clothes after my henna had dried. After that, I applied lemon sugar sealant to make sure the henna paste doesn't flake off while I'm sleeping. When I woke up, I used coconut oil and a butter knife to remove the paste. Using mustard oil is also a great alternative. Make sure you avoid putting any water on your henna stain. So dark in just 8 hours. Come back for the complete